What's up, my friend? Welcome back to a brand new video. And today I just wanted to touch on a topic that's been a little bit controversial recently. And that is specifically about AI. So artificial intelligence and its role in the composing world for the next few years to the next few decades and how that might impact us as an industry. Is it going to replace humans? Like that sort of thing, right? Because we can't deny that AI has played a huge role, specifically in the physical sector jobs where people have had to be laid off because robots can take over their jobs, like manual labor and stuff like that, right? But when it comes to art specifically, something that's so human, how does that relate to AI and artificial intelligence? So we're going to talk about that. And before I share my thoughts, though, I want to share with you a completely free gift before we kick things off. This is what I call the composer's mindset. So this is a guide that I put together. I took some time to really think about what are some really important mindsets for composers to think about when going into the music industry, no matter what stage of the journey you're on. These are a few components and few things that you should be thinking about along the way to really make you a full, well-rounded composer. And I can highly recommend it. It's been helping a ton of my students. So I would love to give it to you totally free. Just click the first link in the box below and you can grab it as my gift to you for checking out this video today. And I hope it's helpful. So speaking about composing and AI, let's touch on the topic of artificial intelligence. There's three main points I want to share here. I think first of all, people are scared because they think that robots and software they really can be a threat to human action and what we naturally come up with, but when it's not in the physical sector, when it's something that we create on our own, when it's more creative in general, it's a bit more difficult, I think, for software and artificial intelligence to really catch up and really touch and take over, some of the jobs that we're doing. Now, there are already softwares that can produce pretty, legit tracks, especially if they're more simple in nature and maybe they're just, generic background tracks like for production music and library houses. Like those types of jobs maybe are more under threat than others. But the first thing I want to share is just that I think no matter what, there will be an increased demand for handwritten music in general as, developers and directors take their projects more and more seriously and they realize that there's AI on the market. They will be more on the hunt for people who also write music on their own, because AI music, like, yes, you can code specific patterns. You can say, okay, I want you to write the melody in this way. I want you to use these types of chord progressions and randomize them and etc. But beauty is really in the eye of the beholder or in the ear of the director, the composer, whoever. And that's entirely subjective. What sounds beautiful to someone might not sound beautiful to someone else, right? And so AI doesn't really have a brain to come up with this stuff. It's just running programmed rules, right, from what's been told previously by its creators. So directors, developers, people who are looking for real, handwritten, authentic, genuine music, I think we're going to see a greater appreciation actually for people who actually prefer to write music from scratch without the need for AI or without, using it as a support system, using artificial intelligence. So in a way, I actually think the music industry will grow and develop because of this. People who are afraid maybe their jobs for composing will go extinct. I don't know about that. I actually think yes, maybe some developers or people who look for music, maybe if they want the cheap way out, if they want something super affordable and they don't really care about the quality of the music, then sure, they might use an AI generator and create thousands of pieces of music without having to pay the robot, right? But the people who want to take their projects more seriously and literally want music that's from the heart, that is from the brain, right? And really just has that human element behind it. Those people will appreciate composers more and more because then they'll realize that AI is one thing, but human blood, sweat, and tears, that is a completely different experience compared to AI generated music, in my opinion. So that's the first thing. I don't think that the music industry will really suffer in the long term. I think human beings always pivot, like we naturally adapt to whatever comes at us, right? So naturally, I think that companies, developers will really just step up and continue to look for handwritten emotional, like music from the source, and we'll start to hear those differences more and more as the industry moves on. Okay. The second thing is that it's kind of related to the first one, but I think the industry in general, like the composing industry, will continue to grow, and so I think there will be more and more jobs actually for composers because there are more and more developers and directors and people who want to create things for media. Those people are entering the market more and more every day, right? If you think about most creative industries, I think the main Western culture is trying to create encouragement and support for creative people nowadays. Because yes, there are lots of people who are focused on just hard labor or typical job 9 to 5 stuff, but I think more and more people are starting to realize the importance of the arts. And that's not just music, that's like videos, that's games, that's films or whatever. And so I think more and more people who are inspired by whatever films they watch or whatever games they play, they want to become these developers. More and more people will come into the industry. And as a result, more and more people will need music for those projects as well. So yes, while AI might be making its dent, I also think that the industry as a whole, the whole creative industry, will continue to grow. And that means the demand for you, the music that you write, will also grow as well. Honestly, it's hard to predict the future, honestly, right? But from what I've seen, at least in our niche, our industry, the sampling world, the composing world, there are just more and more people coming on board every single day, and that's a wonderful thing. So rather than having more of a scarcity mindset, which says like I'm afraid that my job will be taken away, like people will be eradicated from their composing jobs, I actually like to think of it from the opposite perspective because I actually believe it's true. I don't think that the overall industry will really suffer. In fact, I think that the industry will continue to grow and more opportunities will appear as more people come into the industry needing music, and you will be there to support that need. Okay? That's the second thing. And the third thing is more of a mindset, I guess. And that is just that you can feel good knowing that the human brain is something that robots can never completely replace. Yes, they can create generic music, and again, they're just relying on code and stuff. But art in itself is a human process that robots just don't have the capability to authentically reproduce 100%. Whereas, again, for manual labor, for jobs that don't require very much artistic liberty, let's say, robots can absolutely do those jobs. And that's why I think people are scared, because they're thinking like, well, what if robots create or are programmed with amazing adaptive brains and stuff? And yes, that might be possible. And I might just be talking on my butt. But I think in general, the human brain is so amazing and it comes up with ideas that robots just can't, We have to program robots. They can't just naturally learn new things all the time, unless I'm not a scientist, so I don't really know. But the fact that we have an art that is so authentic to human beings compared to, I guess, other fields, that is something that should be celebrated. And that is something that I think we can take assurance in as well. So no matter what, I think that music is such an authentic, genuine form of human expression that even if AI makes more of a dent in the industry and you see more people using AI for their productions, for their music and films and stuff, you can be rest assured knowing that you as a person, you will create something that a robot will not create, right? Or even if they do, it's kind of similar, but you as your own person and your own composing voice, you have your own unique style, and that is something that a robot can't have. Okay? No matter what's programmed into it, it may randomize things, it might do things differently, but it's not human. And overall, I think you can be reassured knowing that music is safe with humans, I think. And the fact that we have so much technology at our disposal in terms of sample libraries and even just inspiration Kickstarters, I honestly think the music industry will be stronger than ever. So I don't think you really have to worry. Now, if you are maybe working in production music and you're doing library tracks, and that is like your only primary source of income. I was talking to some composer friends, by the way, and they were worried about this because they rely on, let's say, royalties from library tracks and stuff, and they're worried that AI will take over. Then yes, that is a potential threat for sure. But I think that, if anything, is a kick in the pants for us to diversify and find alternative revenue sources and streams, right? So two that come to mind right away are teaching. So sharing your knowledge, sharing your skills, and that can be a very dependable source of income because students or parents who will pay for the kids' lessons to study with you, those can be a very regular occurrence every single week, every other week, so on and so forth. So that's what I've been doing when building my YouTube channel. All the while, I've been teaching for 5-6 years now, piano and theory and stuff every single week for many, many students. And that's allowed me to focus more of my efforts on the YouTube channel recently and the online business, right? And the other thing is services. So if you don't want to teach and share your education, then you can always provide services to other people. So maybe you're a mixing engineer, so you can mix people's music, you can master people's music. Maybe you just want to compose for people, you can do that as well. Maybe I don't know, maybe you want to orchestrate, you want to do notation for people. Like there will always be a need for that sort of thing, but that does require a bit more human connection and networking, I think, because you have to find people who are willing to hire you for those specific skills that you have. So those projects tend to be a little bit less regular because you only really get work if people need what you have to offer, right? Whereas for teaching, it's a much more long-term process where they come back every single week to kind of absorb what you have to share with them, and they put the things into practice, and it's more of a relationship that way. Whereas with services, it's more of like a freelance thing, like one and done sort of thing, unless you have different types of services that you offer that have recurring revenue, for example. But yeah, that all in all, I think our industry is fine, honestly. Again, as the industry grows, so will the demand for composers and real music, right? Not just generic robotic music. And companies and developers who want to take their music more seriously and take their projects seriously, they'll like, I think a lot of people will be able to tell what's AI generated and what's really from a human source. So I think companies and developers who really want to take those projects seriously and bring on a human composer, they will do that. If they can afford it, if they want that element, that human element, they will bring on a composer. So yeah, and the last thing is just knowing that the art of making music is just something completely human, and I don't really think it's something AI can really overtake completely. So I think we're in good hands. Yeah, I hope that was helpful, or at least gave you a little bit of inspiration or motivation to continue doing what you're doing. Don't worry, you'll be totally fine. And yeah, if you're interested in maybe just solidifying some core mindsets and some really just some beliefs, I think that at least I've had from day one, then I want to share with you again my Composer's Mindset free guide. It's a totally free PDF you can download, the first link in the description box. And it just goes over a few core elements and mindsets you really need to be thinking about as you make your way into the music industry, make a career for yourself, and really decide on which path is right for you moving forward. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts below. Do you think AI is going to be, completely replacing us, or do you think there is hope for our industry? I'd love to know. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you so much and take care. Bye-bye.